As Dr. Carol Tomlinson points out in several of her books, one of the advantages of differentiated instruction and assessment is that it allows the teacher to have time to help students who need extra instruction while the rest of the class works independently. In this video, we will visit the classroom of 6th grade teacher Kathy Murphy at Callanan Middle School in Des Moines, Iowa. You'll see how Mrs. Murphy used exit cards as an assessment tool to determine how well her students understood a lesson on punctuation. You'll see how she used that information, combined with a warm-up exercise, to determine which of her students needed some extra time with her for additional instruction and practice time. Now let's watch as Mrs. Murphy introduces her lesson.
My name is Kathy Murphy and I teach 6th grade language arts and reading at Callanan Middle School. Our lesson for today involves the correct use of punctuation marks in writing quotation marks, understanding direct and indirect quotes, and how to use them in their writing to improve their writing. Yesterday before class, or at the end of class, we took a short little assessment before they left class as an exit card, and they practiced by demonstrating what they already know about how to write punctuation marks correctly. My plan today is that I'm going to introduce the lesson that I want everyone to be a part of, and then as people are working, I'm going to pull some of them back and we're going to have some extra practice. And those that have the skills down pretty well will be able to get going, and I can come and help those that need extra practice of a different way during the classroom. Remember yesterday when before you left class we took out our note cards and I had you write 3 sentences down. In the sentences, your job was to apply punctuation marks and capitalizations into 3 sentences about quotation. I've looked through these and I want to make sure everyone sees how they were supposed to be done. Some of you did an excellent job. Some of you need just a little bit of help on capitalization mainly, and others of us need some more help on putting direct quotes in, and we're going to do that today. How about, do I have a volunteer to come up and correctly punctuate the first one for me? Marjorie, you're up close. Will you please do that one? Any corrections? What needs to be corrected? Marjorie, you stay up here and someone's going to help you out. Dustin, what would you say? Something that needs to be corrected? That's right. That's one thing. Anything else? Nylat?
Instead of a period after wet, it needs to be a comma.
Which one?
The period right up there.
Oh, after wet. You are absolutely right. That should be a comma, because that's not the end of the sentence, is it? The end of the sentence comes where you put your period. Do you see that? My shoes got wet. And then put a comma there. Can you do that? Thank you. One more mistake. Do you have any idea what it is, Marjorie?
Capitalize the C.
Doesn't need to capitalize the C. All right, Marjorie, we'll let you go. Pass that to a guy. Any guy who would like to come up.
She said guys.
First of all, do you want to read the sentence to us, Aaron?
Susan said, put them in the clothes store. In the clothes store.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. Perfect. Thank you. Give it to anyone you want to who has their hand up. Uriah, you've got the tough one. Can you read it to us, please, Uriah?
They won't dry. They won't be dry, moaned Matt, before I have to go to school.
Where's your speaker tag?
Oh,
What's your speaker tag in that sentence?
um,
All right. Can you read for me the speaker tag? Doesn't have to be capitalized, no. That's not capitalized. But what does need to be capitalized? Help him out. Bailey.
that needs to be capitalized.
Any other corrections that need to be made? Uriah, why don't you call on someone and see if they can help you a little bit?
Amina.
There needs to be quotation marks before the word before.
You want to come on up and do that, Amina? All right, let's see what we've got. Uriah knew to capitalize the they at the start of the sentence, and he put quotation marks in front of them. Hold still for me. They won't be dry, comma, quotation mark, moaned Matt. Can you put another comma after behind moaned Matt to set off that speaker tag? Then we started before, didn't need to be capitalized because it's part of the same sentence. Do we need a comma there after before? No. Can you kind of scratch that one out for us? Thank you. Before I have to go to school, is the period inside those quotation marks or outside, Uriah?
Inside.
It should be inside. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Folks, I'm going to pass back your cards to you, and I want you to look over and see how you did. How about Nyla? You want to help pass those out? Would you like to pass those out? And would you like to pass those out for me? There might be. Check over how you did. Some of you left out just capital letters. Some of you forgot commas before speaker tags. Some of you did them perfectly. Some of us were going to practice a little more. All right, here's what I need you to do today. Will you two pass these out? Thank you. Names in the upper right-hand corner, up at the tippy top, please. In case I find them out in the hallway, I can return them to you. This is to represent a tic-tac-toe board. If you were playing tic-tac-toe, you'd be asked to get 3 in a row. You could go down, you could go diagonally, you could go across. I'm changing the rules on this tic-tac-toe just a bit. You need to do 3 activities, and you need to select 1 from each row. They do not, however, have to be in the exact order. If you want to do 1 up here, 1 over here, and then 1 here in the third and final row, that's up to you, however you choose to do the activities. Before we begin, I want to remind you what I expect you to know and understand and be able to do when the exercise is all over. How about Dakota? I want you to read the part for us in blue on the board. Miss Bailey, will you read the part in red for us? And Mr. Kyrie, will you read the part that's in the teal color? If you need to practice it, let me know. Can you see it? Kyrie, can you see? All right, Dakota, read what I want you to know today.
Students will know the difference between a direct and indirect quote.
They will understand that punctuation marks help convey meaning and piece of writing.
Do all students will correctly write direct quotations?
Thank you. I know what I will expect you to do today and understand, and I hope will help clarify what I expect for you out of the lesson. This lesson won't be done today. We'll be working on it tomorrow. We'll be concluding it up on Friday. First part of it, the no, I want to make sure you understand the difference between a direct and an indirect quotation. The quotations we corrected were direct quotations. They had speakers in them, speaker tags that we used. Indirect quotations do not have speaker tags in them. All right, the next thing I want to make sure you understand is quotation marks add meaning to your writing. If you didn't have your direct quotes and quotation marks in your writing, we wouldn't understand it. Just like you have to have periods at the end of the sentence to remind you to pause, those quotation marks in your sentences remind you to speak with expression. And the last thing, I want to make sure you can all write correct direct quotes, putting quotation marks, capitalization, and punctuation in the right places. And here's how we're going to do it. All of you need to select one activity on the top row, one from the middle row, and finally one from the last row to do. The top row have A, B, or C on them up here, and you'll get to come up and select which one you would like to get started on. The middle row, you get to take a selection from one of our books in the classroom, and I want you to highlight all the speaker tags that you find. Highlighters are up here, or you may have them at your desk. Then turn the worksheet over and come up with speaker tags of your own, as well as direct quotations using some of your creative speaker tags. This was from the book Goosebumps. There's one from Bone, and there's finally one from Two Bananas Chew Gum. And the last row this is where you are going to practice your creative writing, in which you include direct quotes. First one I want you to do is write a spooky story. Make sure you include direct quotations. You're welcome to illustrate your writing. Remember that each time a new speaker speaks, you have to start a new paragraph and indent that new paragraph. So when you're ready to do the bottom row, and you're welcome to start at the bottom row if you prefer to, go over to your basket and get your writing spirals. Girls, you may come up first and grab one of the ones from the table. Later. Boys, your turn. I'm going to call a few of you back, and I want to make sure we're crystal clear on what we're working on. Uriah, will you come back with me, please? Gina, will you turn your desk around? And Andy, why don't you come back with me, too? Just turn your desk around. Andy, you want to move over here? We're going to do a little extra practice. After looking over your assessments, I see that some of you need a little more practice and a little work. We'll work on that together. Why don't you put everything except these sheets of paper that I just gave you off your desk. Put those under there. I'm going to ask you to write some sentences, and we're going to practice putting quotation marks in and capitalizing correctly. Fair enough? We'll start with the speaker tag at the very start. So why don't you write down Mrs. M said, turn to page 500 in your book. All right. You've got the sentences written. Now, what were my exact words, Gina?
Mrs. M said to turn to page 500 in your book.
Okay. What's the speaker tag in that sentence? What part tells me who's doing the talking?
Mrs. M
Mrs. M did what?
said to turn to page 500.
Mrs. M said. That's your speaker tag. Do you all see that? All right. Okay. The quotation doesn't go around the speaker tag. Oh yeah, the quotations go around exactly what I said. So does the sentence start with capital letters?
Yes.
Is there a period after M?
Yeah.
And what goes after the speaker tag, after the word said?
Comma.
A comma. All right. Now here are my exact words. Turn to page 500 in your book. So what do we need to put in front of that word turn? Quotation marks. Okay. And what goes after the word book?
There's no book in it. Page.
Turn to page 500 in your book.
Oh.
What goes at the end?
The quotation
Another quotation mark.
and a period.
And a period. Does that period go inside that quotation mark or outside?
Outside.
It should go inside. Is this making it more clear for you? All right, I want to do now the toughest ones. Ready to write another one? All right, here's what I want you to write down this time. This one's the interrupted quote. You're going to have your speaker tag in the middle of the sentence. All right.
She had it in the middle of her.
Start it now. I want a dog. Said Gina. Of my very own. All right, Gina, tell me, what's the speaker tag? Who's saying this?
Me.
So what
I put-
said Gina? Okay. What is Gina saying?
I want a dog
Continue. I want a dog.
of my very own.
All right, that's exactly what your exact words. I want a dog, said Gina, of my very own. How are we going to put punctuation marks in that one? How'd we do over here? Perfect. Are you ready to go back to your seat? Thank you, Andy. I'll take that, all right? I want a dog. Did Gina say, I want a dog said? No.
Said Gina.
All right, I want a dog. Perfect. You have that in quotation marks. And then she also said, I want a dog of my very own. I need to know that those are your exact words. All right, do these quotation marks go where? All right, does that help?
Yep.
All right, we're going to do another interrupted quote. Teachers continually have to make assessment all through not only a lesson, but when they're working with the kids. I saw that kids that did very well on the note cards weren't doing so well on the activity to show me that they did understand. So there are other kids that needed some extra private time with me. And there's also a group of kids that have it down like that I plan to spend some time with too. There's other skills that they haven't quite mastered yet that work with quotation marks. How to tell if a direct quote needs a typical end punctuation. There are some direct quotes that the punctuation marks go on the outside. So there are more skills that those kids need to practice as well. Gone are the days where you can teach one lesson at a time. There has to be several different assignments or assessments going on for each of the different students. So when I see that kids aren't quite grasping something, I do need to pull them aside, and we do need to spend time working together. Sometimes I can do it just individually, or often with 2 or 3 together. And sometimes it helps when they see that someone else doesn't get it too, so they're thinking they're not the only one who doesn't have the skill.